20 years after the horrific catastrophe that was John Hammond's Jurassic Park, Jurassic World is fully operational. The new theme park, built on top of its predecessor, was a massive undertaking. After years of reclamation, rebuilding, and rebranding, it opened to the public. While it initially struggled to break out of the shadow of its former self, improvements in security and a massive PR effort slowly built trust among the public. After 5 years without issue, it was as popular as Disney World. So here's my question to you, the viewer. If this Jurassic theme park had a squeaky clean record, would you finally pull the trigger on that once-in-a-lifetime chance to see live dinosaurs? And if so, do you think you'd make it back with all your limbs?
What the fuck is this?
You do? Well, you're wrong. I'm here to tell you why. There's no way you're getting out of that park unless you're in a body bag, and even that is pushing it. The latest in high-tech electronics, luxury sedans, and tickle sticks will do nothing to prevent these dinos from eating you. In this video from Strange Thoughts, I'll cover the top 10 reasons you won't survive your visit to Jurassic World. However, before we get to all the reasons your last ride will be through the bowels of a velociraptor, hit the like and subscribe button. And do it now, because most of you are going to roll your gyro ball off a cliff before you even get close to the real dangers hidden in the depths of Isla Nubla. Our analysis starts as your ferry arrives at the theme park dock. Glancing up, you notice monorails whisking away eager visitors to the center of the park. This place has Disney written all over it. A short ride later, you arrive at the entrance. To say it's impressive is an understatement. It's like the animal kingdom on steroids. Jurassic World has everything from coliseums to water slides to Jimmy Buffett Margaritavilles. You can't wait to step into the park. But first, you need to get your Starbucks dino drink. While you're taking in the sights, Jurassic World VP Claire Deering is giving a tour of the park to several VIPs from Verizon. As they walk past egg warmers, robot arms, and syringe-wielding techs, Claire tells of the park's need for continuous innovation. According to her, regular dinosaurs aren't cutting it anymore.
But consumers want them bigger, louder, more teeth.
Claire brings them to a screen where she shows off their latest attempt at gene splicing some scary back into these boring dinos.
The Indominus Rex, our first genetically modified hybrid.
When asked about the name, she explains Dominus means owned and in loosely translates to non. Putting these together, it stands for non-owned. That's a funny name for your scariest dinosaur to date. After some additional information about how it's the biggest, strongest, and meanest dinosaur in the park, the execs are bought in. It's time to slap a Verizon logo on her paddock and get some human meat in front of her. After all, nothing says Verizon like goat slaughtering dinosaurs. While Claire is wooing the Verizon marketing team, you're exploring the Samsung Innovation Center. The park may have a prehistoric feel, but this exhibit is straight out of the future. The sharpest 8K screens, holographic technology, and stylish yet functional tablets push the limits of what an interactive museum can do. Samsung, do what you can't. Back at the command center for Jurassic World, Claire's receiving her 3 p.m. status update. 15-foot-high Samsung QLED panels displaying quantum detail video camera footage, park stats, and weather patterns. The technology's not the only update since the first theme park. The startup culture has changed as well. Gone are the days of chain-smoking engineers and soda-chugging programmers. In this place, the wrong t-shirt will get you in trouble.
Didn't occur to you maybe that's in poor taste?
While her pitch earlier may have suggested she was on the marketing team, Claire's presence in the command room indicates a more operational role. That's not good for you. Reason 1. Corporate politics. There are only 2 types of people with the experience necessary to run a place like this: 4-star generals and prison wardens. Seeing as Claire's neither, her title of VP of Operations seems odd. Yes, she's intelligent and hardworking, but her background as a marketing exec just doesn't seem to lend itself to the day-to-day decisions of a park manager. This role requires answers to very important questions like how high to build the Indominus Rex fence, not how best to integrate Verizon Wireless Orange with Jurassic World Blue. So how did Claire get this job? Well, if you've ever worked in a large corporation, you know the answer. Unqualified execs taking on important roles is fairly common in companies where corporate politics trump merit. While you'd like to think a place as dangerous as Jurassic World would be immune to these politics, that's not the case. Claire is a prime example of this. Sure, there were others more qualified for the role, but none of them could compete with her ability to play corporate politics. She had the ear of the CEO and upper management written all over her. Besides, the role was mainly just a formality at this point. There was no danger in her lack of experience. This place was on cruise control, or so she thought. It turns out there's a little more to running a prison for prehistoric beasts than email status meetings and org charts. She's having to make tough decisions about things she knows nothing about. Again, this is not going to go well for you. Claire checks in with a crew who give her a quick rundown of the latest park stats. pretty much the standard of heat stroke, lost kids, and fences failing.
Security said the invisible fences were a no-fail. That is the second time this month.
Reason 2. They still haven't quite figured out the fences. A lack of proper fencing is the #1 reason the original Jurassic Park failed. Yes, Dennis Nedry played his part, but a well-designed system would have accounted for foul play, especially in an industry where industrial sabotage was all too common. Mr. Spare No Expense didn't put his money where it counted, and he paid the price. One would think this would be a lesson carved into the command room walls like holy scripture. But no, once again they've opted for a less secure approach. 40-foot tall electrified walls have been replaced with invisible fences and modified shock collars. You better hope they got the voltage right. If one of these dinos decides it wants to try some human, there's no way you're going to paddle fast enough to escape its voracious appetite. Reason 3. It starts at the top. After Claire finishes up her afternoon check-in, she boards a helicopter waiting outside. The pilot is CEO Simon Masrani, whose company bought Jurassic Park from Hammond. He takes them to the Dominus Rex exhibit to get his first look at their new creation. Masrani, like Hammond, seems to have a whimsically rosy view of his park. He's more interested in smiles and profits, and has no problem sharing his cheery philosophy with uptight Claire.
The key to a happy life is to accept you are never actually in control.
That Instagram wisdom sounds nice, but it's a little concerning coming from the guy ultimately responsible for an island of dino prisoners waiting to kill their way to freedom. Jurassic World's lackadaisical approach to security starts at the top with Masrani. From the start, he wanted to hear from his excited Imagineers, not his stern-faced security experts. Masrani's overly positive outlook is the reason his security team stopped bringing up concerns a long time ago. After the 20th request for something more powerful than a taser, they just got tired of hearing no. The CEO created a culture that prioritized fun over fences, pleasure over protection, and relaxation over redundancy. As a result, the budget, leadership, and initiatives followed suit. His smiles over safety mantra is reason number 3 this park isn't ready for the carnage about to besiege its guests. His helicopter sets down next to the new dino paddock for the I-Rex. Still under construction, Claire lets him know it's bigger than expected.
It's a good sign.
No, that's a bad sign. It's a sign that once again your biologists, genealogists, and all the other ologists have no idea what they're doing. I wonder what else they don't know about this freak of nature. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Claire shows Masrani around the viewing area, brushing off broken glass as a minor hiccup. She ensures them they had the best engineers design the new dino's paddock. They thought of everything, except for how to feed the dinosaur without the use of human handlers. Reason 4. There's no safe job at Jurassic Park. The employment contract is 20 pages long for a reason. After that $20 million settlement with the family of Joffrey, the late Velociraptor loading crew member, engine lawyers went to work. They thought up every possible way you could die working in this park and ensured the company was covered for all of them. But you shouldn't need to read a contract to know the dangers that come with working this well-paying job. It should be evident to any employee that regardless of your role, you're all locked on an island with beasts that want to kill you. While some jobs are going to bring your life to an end quicker than others, the minute one of those dinos break free, you're all dead. Masrani may seem like a cool CEO, but he's not going to give you a ride back to safety in his helicopter. However, the danger involved in working with dinosaurs isn't just reserved for theme park employees. Those of you in the military are about to get a new addition to your team. It's fast, deadly, and very undisciplined. Reason 5. Dino Soldiers. Not every dinosaur in Isla Nubla is there for your enjoyment. Some are part of a secret military defense contract aimed at weaponizing dinosaurs. Navy veteran Owen Grady is the lead on one such program. His job is to determine whether velociraptors can be trained to follow orders. If so, they could be involved in everything from high-speed ground warfare to high-speed ground warfare. Come to think of it, killing is probably their only application. But they'll do it well. So well, the Raptor attachments will start making it into every infantry unit in the United States military. However, eventually things will change. As our enemies realize AK-47s and RPGs dispatch these shrieking attackers quite easily, so will the Raptors. These dinosaurs are highly intelligent and will come to the conclusion they won't live long following the orders of their commanders. Faced with almost certain death from our enemies, they'll refuse to follow orders and opt instead to kill their fellow human teammates in an attempt to escape. The US Army and those serving in the 102nd Dino Division will learn the hard way that while you can teach a raptor some things, discipline isn't one of them. After Grady wraps up his day training raptors, he gets to work on his motorcycle while drinking an ice-cold Coca-Cola. Claire shows up in her Mercedes-Benz GLE coupe with variable torque all-wheel drive to ask Owen to evaluate the Indominus Rex paddock for vulnerabilities. She didn't want to come ask him, but this was a direct request from Masrani. According to the CEO, Owen's role training raptors has given him a unique insight into how these monsters constantly try to escape. If anyone can poke holes in their security setup, it's him. The whole exchange comes off as awkward due to the fact that these two have a history.
We have an attraction.
That's not what you said the last time I saw you.
Evidently, during the 5th anniversary of the park opening, these two were getting hammered at Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville. Claire was 4 marks deep and finally letting her hair down when she bumped into Owen. They hit it off, and one thing led to another until they were back in Owen's beachside bungalow. The next morning, she realized that while fun, she could never be associated with such a guy and ran out on him. While still sour about the whole experience, Owen reluctantly agrees to help out. While they're heading to the Indominus Rex paddock, you've made it to the Mosasaurus exhibit where you somehow managed to score the best seats in the arena. Unfortunately for you, this is reason number 6 why you won't survive. You had front row seats. Front row seats are not always a good thing. Certain events like monster truck rallies invert the pricing structure so that the more expensive seats are towards the back. This protects the wealthy patrons while the plebs up front get flattened by the occasional runaway monster truck. It's no different at the Mosasaurus exhibit. While the park claims all seats are safe, there's a reason rows 0 through 30 come at a discount. If the documentary Blackfish taught me anything, it's that these monsters have been quietly building up an aggression towards their captors. At some point, they're going to snap and free willy their way into the audience. Unless you have box seats, you're not going to survive. Back at the Indominus Rex paddock, Grady arrives to provide his assessment. Looking around the exhibit, he notices claw marks on the wall. It looks like something tried to climb over the paddock. Before he can ask if this is evidence of a prior escape attempt, a series of alarms go off. The thermal cameras no longer detect the dinosaur. Both of them jump to the only logical conclusion.
You think it?
Without a second to spare, Claire hops back in her Mercedes GLE coupe with ventilated front row seats and floors it back to the command center. Each dinosaur has a tracking implant that should allow them to find the escaped Indominus Rex. While she's feeling the power of the 4-liter V8 bit-turbo engine, Owen and the guard decide to investigate how the dinosaur escaped. At this point, it's a foregone conclusion that Indominus Rex made it out into the park. There's no need to roll back the tape, check the overhead cameras, and see if any of the perimeter alarms went off. Besides, Owen has a sweet-ass knife and the guard has a hard hat. They'll be fine in the unlikely situation this dinosaur is still lurking in its pen. When Claire's team finally pinpoints the dinosaur, she realizes it was a trap. The Indominus Rex is still in there. A command center operator calls Owen and the guard, but her message is garbled, preventing them from getting her warning in time. This brings us to reason number 7 why you won't survive. Bad cell coverage.
You need to evacuate the container.
Verizon may want to focus a little less on obtaining the dino exhibit naming rights and a little more on building out the cell towers on Isla Nubla. In a theme park full of deadly attractions, spotty reception isn't just an inconvenience, it's a death sentence. Case in point, the IREX trap. If Claire had good service, she could have called command from the paddock and learned this dino trickster was just laying a trap. This would have prevented Owen and the guard from entering the cage and ultimately letting the dinosaur escape. Instead, she had to drive a half-mile down the road to get reception. Now they've got a murder dino wandering through a park full of unsuspecting guests like you. Back at the command center, Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky is no longer telling people to smile. If they don't contain this quietly, Jurassic World stock will plummet, and along with it, his fortune. It's time to dispatch the asset containment unit. In the bunker below, an elite unit of ACU troopers receive their orders. This is a non-lethal operation. Reason number 8. This is a non-lethal operation. The ACU squad loads up with all types of ineffective weaponry. From underpowered stun guns to tickle sticks, they've got everything they need to launch a completely ineffective first wave. As they head out, you're continuing the coolest day of your life. Along with all the other guests, you're completely oblivious to the crumbling situation around you. The convoy of fast-moving utility vehicles to your right is of little concern. You have cute baby herbivores to pet. At the command center, Gritty raises concerns over the non-lethal approach to capturing the dinosaur. He sums up the most likely outcome of such a strategy.
This man are gonna die.
Masrani reiterates they can't authorize lethal weapons as they've invested too much money in the asset. $26 million to be exact. Mr. Enough About Costs is suddenly very worried about the financial success of their company. His greedy alter ego is taking control and will do whatever it takes to ensure their stock price doesn't take a hit, even if it means sending 20 members of the asset containment unit to their death. The elite ACU team approaches quietly using their Samsung smartwatches with the latest Dino Tracker app from the Android store. These guys look prepared for anything. They're even wearing bulletproof vests, just in case this dino is armed. Commander Hamada takes point and is the first to see the camouflaged dinosaur emerge from the trees. He tries to run, but his jungle stomp 3 steps into his retreat. His squad recoils in fear as this was never in their training exercises. While the smart ones run for their lives, some of the troopers stay behind to battle the beast. One by one, they confirm the ineffectiveness of their weapons. Tickle sticks, nets, and beanbag shotguns all fail to contain this prehistoric threat. In less than 30 seconds, it eliminates the SEAL Team 6 of ACU. Masrani, watching on the big screen, realizes this dinosaur isn't no dinosaur. It's deadlier than anything the ACU could have prepared for. He marches down to the science division, where he asks the lead scientist just what the hell they cooked up in the lab. Reason 9. Dr. Wu, the mad scientist. More than 2 decades have passed since Wu joined the InGen team tasked with cloning the first dinosaur. At the time, he was a bright-eyed PhD student ecstatic to be at the bleeding edge of gene research. He didn't take anything for granted. When his team successfully cloned the first dinosaur, he was quickly promoted to lead scientist, where he worked until the 1993 Jurassic Park disaster. When Jurassic World was created, he was brought back to once again lead the science team. However, Wu had changed. At some point between the failure of the first park and the creation of the second park, he developed a darker personality. Gone was the Wu excited about every new dinosaur he brought to life. He seemed bored with creating regular dinosaurs. As time went on, he started pushing the limits. Each dinosaur he created was smarter, scarier, faster, and more aggressive. It was like he was trying to create a monster. Eventually, he created his masterpiece. A super intelligent, highly aggressive, and seemingly invisible iteration of the T-Rex. Yes, the specimen violated all safety protocols, but he wanted to see people scream at his creation. Now that it's loose, he'll finally get that chance. Evil Dr. Wu and his symbolic black turtlenecks are reason number 9 why you won't survive. While you're rolling around in your little gyro ball, Jurassic World Command is consulting their contingency plan. The first step is to relocate all human meat, guests, to one single location for feeding, shelter. Within minutes, your gyro ball brings you back to the monorail where you speed your way back to the center of the park. There, a British voice over the speaker keeps everyone calm using phrasing like containment anomaly and technical error. This language has been shown to suppress anxiety, unlike the air raid siren that follows these euphemisms. With guests now safe, it's time to engage the dino threat with lethal force. Jurassic World has 3 distinct levels of escalation for such a task. The 3 levels are CEO gunship, 5 dudes in a chopper, and if necessary, fight dinos with dinos. Let's see how each of these pan out, starting with Masrani's aerial assault.
Come on, look alive, boys!
Okay, time to escalate to 5 dudes in a chopper. These guys look badass. I'm sure they'll take care of things. Well, shit. I guess it's time to fight dinos with dinos. Owen Grady makes his way back to the raptor training area to prepare his raptor army for their hunt. He needs to confirm 2 things. First, that he's still the alpha, and second, that they aren't harboring any ill will due to their head being in a vice-like restraint for the past 7 hours. He meets with the remaining ACU team and they devise a plan to use the Velociraptors to lure the Indominus out into the open for a clear shot. If all goes well, this dino will be dead before daybreak. With the push of a button, the Raptor squadron is unleashed, followed by ACU team members. It doesn't take long before they find the Indominus Rex. The ACU team, which can't get any better of a shot, wait for the dinosaurs to communicate? I'm confused, but whatever. The point is the hunt goes south when the I-Rex turns out to be an 8th Raptor. Thanks for the heads up, Dr. Wu. Things unfold as one would expect, with Raptors turning on their handlers joining the I-Rex murder fest. Machine guns and rocket launchers are able to hold them off long enough for Owen to reunite with Claire and 2 random kids at the center of the park. However, it's not long before the Raptors catch up, approaching them from all angles. Just when it looks like they're done for, Owen convinces them they're still good in their hearts. As the raptors apologize for all the humans they just killed, the Indominus Rex approaches. You look on from your hotel window where you're waiting for that damn ferry to pull up. While anxious to leave, you kinda want to see how this plays out. You have front row seats to Dino Mania 2021. On one side of the ring, we have 3 raptors, bred for intelligence, speed, and aggressiveness. On the other side, we have the I-Rex, who is smarter, faster, and meaner. Oh, and like 10 times bigger. Admittedly, the Raptors have a disadvantage. They'll need some serious help if they're to have any chance. Enter Mr. T-Rex. A tentative alliance is quickly formed as they agree to bring down the evil dinosaur who doesn't play by normal dinosaur rules. Together they lure the Indominus into a trap outside the Mosasaurus Stadium. When it's in range, the Mosasaurus emerges and pulls the Indominus Rex into the water. Hell yeah! Go Dino, go Dino, go! Go Dino, go Dino, go! Go, go, go! Where was I? You and the other guests watching intently from the hotel erupt in applause. You're safe. This unlikely duo are heroes. They deserve to be free. Run along, dinos, run along. Why aren't they running along? They're looking at us. Oh God, run! That's when you learned the hard way, reason number 10 why you won't survive. The enemy of your enemy is your enemy. They were never on your side. The T-Rex and Velociraptors were using you. Only with the ACU's help could they lure the Indominus back to the Mosasaurus arena. Now that the Alpha Predator's gone, they can proceed to eat all of you while you wait for the ferry. Like I said in the beginning, none of you are making it back. And that's where our analysis comes to an end. If you still think you made it, you're either delusional or Danielle Fireseed. I hope you liked my glass half empty analysis of why you wouldn't survive your visit to Jurassic World. If you like me explain your survival chances in other horror movie scenarios, consider subscribing as it helps me make more videos. Thanks for watching. Remember that no matter how good the branding, no theme park with dinosaurs will ever be safe. In the words of famous chaotician Ian Malcolm,
Life, finds a way.